Good evening, everybody. And I am back. I know you all missed me, but welcome to the MAS General Meeting for September of 2024. Only a few more months left of this wonderful year. And I don't know if Mr. Bill Kochen is online, but he allowed me to take this beautiful image and show all of you from this past weekend up at LLCC when we had a wonderful aurora. He is. Bill, do you want to talk about it a little bit? Do you want to unmute?
Oh, it's okay. I just got on. There's my picture. This was the night after the aurora, and I set my camera up down by my camper, and I knew there was some glow on the sky, low on the horizon. So I just let this thing run, took 198 pictures over the course of an hour, and wasn't expecting too much. I kind of underexposed them all, but I brightened them up in Lightroom and ran them through, I don't remember, a freeware program to stack them up and came up with this, I think, pretty interesting star trails.
I
That's
agree.
that's about all I got to say.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Bill. And thank you for letting me take it on such short notice.
All right,
It's
you're welcome.
just. So what we have next, oh, that's kind of a little bit of a delay in the house. We have our current board. It's me, John Zimmich, and he's here. And Dave Faulkner is here as well. Okay. And then we have Matt manning and not touching his computer. We have Ahmed here, and we also have Jesse. So we have an entire board here tonight. So this is wonderful. And I just want to say thank you to all of my board members for taking care of the monthly meetings for the last few months, along with all of your gracious members for putting up with them and appreciating them for the last few months. And this is what I've been up to. On Thursday nights, I study Aikido, and I went from a blue belt to a purple belt and had about, thank you. And that's the crew. We had about 2.5 months to train and before we took our test. So it was pretty exciting, and a few people got to see it as well. So thank you very much. But I am back now, and I should be back for the rest of the year. Yes. Sometimes, yes. Yeah. So the next level is 3 levels of brown. So I shall have more before they actually become black and blue. It's just instead of just color. So is anybody here that's new, that's on the list, that's brand new to our club in-house? Thank you. Welcome. And online, if you just want to put in the little chat saying, hey, hi, I'm new, we'll send you a little hello there. And I think did I get my numbers wrong? You had 742 and I had 743. Okay. All right. So anyway, welcome to everybody. We have 22 new members and 3 returning for this particular month. And yeah, 742 members. Oh my gosh. So I would love to see 700 and something members volunteer for a lot of things.
And I'm very encouraged about the student number at the bottom there.
Yes. 36 student memberships. So we're hopefully,
the next generation.
Yeah, the next generation. Please, come and save us.
Especially if you have a financial background.
Yeah, exactly. So the few things before the next month are for all of September. And it's, I was doing this, a couple of nights ago, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of same things happening every single month. So Spike is usually next to the moon. I mean, and it's like within a couple of degrees, it's just run. It doesn't change much.
Next month, we'll be talking about orbits.
Okay, but we won't be talking about a partial lunar eclipse that we will be able to see from here. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, but it'll last 4 hours and 6 minutes. Right, right. Versus the annual or solar eclipse where you have to be over water and Chile or Argentina to do all of that. And oh, unless you're going to Hawaii. So anybody here going to Hawaii, you might be able to see it. If you do, take pictures or just enjoy it because it won't last very long. And then of course our autumnal equinox. Everybody try and say that 10 times. That's real fun. No? Autumnal, autumnal, autumnal.
That happened the same time last year.
I know, it really did. Imagine that it happens every single year. I
Summer's
know.
over.
I'm just saying that, Regulus is, next month, Regulus will be, 2.9 degrees south of the moon instead of 3.0 like it is tonight or on that particular day. It's really irritating.
Do you need an off ramp
Oh,
for this or something?
yes, okay, fine. Antone, come up and save me, pretty please, because I think they want to hear about all your stuff before we get some other fun things.
Okay, our loaner program. I will say that the number of new members is off by one because we had somebody join yesterday. Yep, she and her mother wanted to have an interest in astronomy. They represent a women's retreat on Boundary Waters, and they wanted to take a telescope up there. So I sent one out my driveway this morning. It's on its way up to the Boundary Waters for something like 40 women to enjoy. Well,
Yay!
yes.
40 women. Yes.
But not just women, men can enjoy these as well. And we have 19 instruments in total. We have Schmidt-Cassegrains, we have reflectors on Dobsonian mounts. We have one solar scope, which was in big demand earlier this year. And we have two big binoculars and a couple of refractors. Members and only members can borrow these by going to our site. There it is. Nope.
Oh, no, that's the next one.
Oh.
Okay, let me do that one and then we'll go back.
Okay, sorry, I switched it up on her.
Yeah.
So yes, you can go to our site and go on the Loaner Scope program. I think that's also on the homepage now too, right?
Yes, yeah, it
there's a
should be right under
big
membership.
square box on the homepage.
Mhm.
And then you just fill out this information. You tell me what kind of telescope you want and I contact you. And we make arrangements for you to pick it up in my driveway. It's yours for a month. And actually this year, because we've increased the number of telescopes that we have available, I've been able to give members a second month. I mean, the rules allow up to one additional month, and I've been able to do that. In past years, when we had only roughly half as many telescopes we have now, say, I'm sorry, you really can't keep it another month because I've got people lined up for it. But that hasn't been the case. So far this year, we've had about 60 loans. And I've had somebody in my driveway. Well, I was at LLCC last week along with, with many of you. And I've had somebody in my driveway every day since I've been back. And someone's coming tomorrow and on Saturday and on Sunday. So, yeah.
Do your neighbors know you do the Loaner Scope program?
Yeah, they do. Yes. Trina just asked if my neighbors, when I first started doing this, my neighbors were thought I was selling telescopes out of my garage. But no, better than that, I just give them away, right? So, yeah, I mean, as far as volunteer opportunity, I mean, Jerry has said that he has the best spot because he gets to give off these really great awards and stuff. But Jerry, it's only the second best one because I get to pass out telescopes. I'm sorry, telescopes trumpet. That's it.
Telescopes
win.
Jerry is stealing information.
Telescopes win.
Okay.
Anyway, we have telescopes and Trina's other slide there with the DVDs. Anything you want to learn about astronomy, the great courses, I have those in a box at home. You can request those online as well. Just tell me which one you want and we can arrange for a pickup of those as well. So do we have any questions?
No, if not, you can
No.
always
Okay.
get a hold of him online and or come and talk to him afterwards. So now that you've been picking on Jerry, we need to have Jerry. I love having Jerry back It is so cool. Although I missed his comeback and his explanation of why he was gone. I'm
I
not going
told you
to
I'd
make
have
up
to
do it
kill you.
again.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this evening is an historic occasion.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Yes. Come here. Come here. Come here. Do we want to go through the regular stuff first?
No,
Okay.
no, I want to, no, I know, we're focusing on the historic
Okay.
experience.
Historic experience. Do you want the clicker? Do I trust you with the clicker?
I don't need the clicker.
Okay.
You can follow along if you want.
All right.
Anyway, a number of months ago, I threw down a gauntlet. And that gauntlet had to do with the fact that this organization is renowned throughout the country as having a large number of observers who have gained certificates and pins for completing Astronomical League observing projects. We have one of the largest number of master observers. We have one of the largest number of silver master observers. We have one of the largest number of gold master observers in the country.
Wow.
However, we have 0 imagers who have earned any of these awards until tonight. We have so many amazing imagers. The gauntlet that I threw down was, come on, you guys, bunch of losers, get your act together and do something. And one of them took up the gauntlet and did something. Doug Neverman, yes, come on down. Our very first imager who has completed an Astronomical League program.
It's not, my slide deck's out of whack.
Okay.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
Doug.
Okay.
For completing the active galactic nuclei program as the very first ever Minnesota Astronomical Society imager to finish an AL League project. Congratulations. Yes.
The AL League made it easy to find on their list. It's at the very top row.
So
It's the very last one.
you were the first, meaning you kind of broke the mold or started the mold, depending, or made it moldy, however you want to perceive it. Tell us a little bit about your experience, if you would.
Okay, I will. So it was about a year and a half ago, and I was thinking of, well, what can I do with imaging besides this? And I looked at the observing programs a little bit and didn't really pick up on that. And then a couple months later, I heard somebody basically say, get out there and image. Okay, now there was a lot more words in there and a lot more animation in there, but well, you're an orchestra director, so you're used to acting. As a director, I understand. I used to be a director, and yes, we have to act up there to a certain extent. But basically, what I took out of it was to get out there and do some imaging and give this a try. So I looked at the programs and chose the active galactic nuclei program to start. Now, the reason I chose that was it was only 30 objects, as opposed to some like the open cluster that Claire is working on, which is 125. My strategy was, well, if it's only 30 and I screw something up in my log or anything like that, and I have to go back and take 30, it would only be 30, and I could get that fairly quickly, I felt. So I went about and started that, and you have to get a certain number of quasars, a certain number of blazars, and a certain numbers of ciphers to qualify. And so I ran into a couple of problems.
What did you screw up on?
What did I screw up on? I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. I only screwed up on one thing, but they were pretty kind and said, well, we'll let that one slide. The first problem I ran into is you have to locate all of these in your image, in the image that I took. So having a planetarium program that will show all of them is a good thing, so you know where they are. The quasars, not a problem. Seyfert's not a problem. But the blazars, as soon as I tried to go and find those in a planetarium program, we would say, what? Huh? So it just wasn't there. And so I would go into the internet and try to find alternate designations for those particular objects, and successful to a certain extent. But finally, what I had to do was, and I looked in Sky Safari, I looked in Stellarium. Finally, in Carte de Ciel, I got the right catalog involved in it, and it could find all those blazars. And it actually, when you enter it, it goes out onto the internet to Harvard, I think, and gets the location for all of that. And there it is, a little circle. Then I could go and do the next difficult part, which was to find that in my image, find those little dots. They're just very, very little dots. In fact, if you come, I brought my log here, so if you wanted to come up and look at it later, it's there. But the first one I did, I got online with Trina and said, how do you do this? Because our observations, we were talking about this past weekend. For visual people, your observation is done at the scope. For imagers, our observation is done at the computer. So we were, sending information back and forth saying, well, I think this is it. And I said, no, I think this is it. But so
We both got close.
yeah. And so what I gained out of that was a great respect for the visual people who are doing this real time. Because my picture is static. It doesn't move. But for the visual people, they're moving all the time. They got to draw pictures. And I have great respect for those of you that can do that real time at the telescope. So those were the two big difficulties I had. The nice thing about it was I had no idea what an AGN was, an active galactic nuclei was. So I did a lot of research on, well, what is it? And then a little bit of the history of how that work has been going on, and how they're still using it. So I think that's it.
So would you suggest other imagers to start with this one?
Well, given that you're standing right beside me and she's got the taekwondo or whatever it is over there, I say yes. And the fact is that it's depending upon what program you're looking at, it doesn't have to be that difficult. With AGNs, the most important piece of information that I needed to get was its location. Now, I don't need a pretty picture to find its location. So I did only a monochrome, only luminance, so no color is in my pictures. And the other thing is that I would do 5-minute pictures. I would do 4 subs. So there's a 5-minute exposure with 20 minutes to reduce data or to reduce noise. So I could, in a half hour, I could have that information done. I might have been able to get by with less, except that these objects are, we looked at them, they're like 15th and 16th and 17th magnitude objects. So, I needed to get a long exposure so that they would show up. For those of you that are doing this visually, actually Claire looked at my log and she said, no, I'm not doing that program. All right, there's a question in back, Mr. Mark. Mark asked which scope I was using. I was using my Stellar View 80 millimeter scope because and I found them all. Like I said, you can come up and look at them. I cropped a lot of it so that the person looking at it could say, okay, I see these stars, if they wanted to go through and locate it themselves. Yes, Mark? I did an RA and deck, go to RA and deck. They didn't always necessarily end up right in the center.
Are you going to try it, Mark?
So
Oh.
Mark says he has started the globs. I've actually started that a little bit too. I've also looked at the open cluster a little bit.
So talk us a little bit about that. Now you're starting the glob and you're starting the open cluster. How is that different as an imager to the AGN project?
Well, the difference from the AGN. So the important piece is what information are they looking for? So in the AGN, they're looking for where is it located in the sky, and also they want to know how far it is. And I was using Redshift to figure out the distance. But what you're going to do in terms of imaging is going to depend upon the program you do. So I did an experiment up at LLCC about for open clusters, saying, well, what kind of exposure do I need? Because I generally just say 5 minutes of exposure. Let's go do that. We'll do a bunch of them and then we'll go home. What I found was with the open cluster, I can get by with a 30-second exposure, and I'll get the open cluster that I want. For the globular cluster, which I'm doing on remote telescopes in Utah, I have a 2-minute exposure. Now, I heard last meeting somebody here is doing the Bright Nebula. Is that person here? Okay, yeah, doing the Bright Nebula. For that one, and looking at the requirements for that, you probably have to go longer because you have to kind of look at the edges and stuff like that. So I think you need more data than just four 30-second pictures. So I'd be interested in talking to you and finding out, what you're doing for exposures and stuff like that. But so it really kind of depends which program you're looking at. I also started looking at the sunspot one, and of course that's about a 4,000th of a second, and I got enough light. So, and an ISO of 800 I've been trying. So, it just depends on what information that the program is looking for.
So what would you say to imagers who are considering, of course they all are, considering doing one of these projects?
Well, it's up to you, whether or not you want to make 3D pictures or the difference is, most imagers are making these beautiful, beautiful pictures with all sorts of colors and experimenting and trying to get to be an APOD. Astronomical picture of the day. But what was the question?
What would you suggest for imagers who are interested in jumping into this? Well, what would you suggest that they try or that they do?
It's going to be dependent on what you're interested in. I was more interested in looking at what was needed for the imager observer, the big one, the master observer imager
Yes.
program.
That's great. Thank you.
Am I following the slides? I didn't know about the slides. I am now. Okay. So now like the Herschel 400, which I think is an imager program, that's not in this, I don't think, but there are only certain ones for the master observer, master imager. Well, what are you interested in? Conrad has a question. I have, Conrad asked if I have these images. I have my notebook here, and you can come and look at it later. I didn't give Trina any of my images. So, and all there are is a white field with black dots on it. I inverted the field to take up less ink.
So what's on the screen right now is for those of you who are those imagers who are interested in doing this. And I can only imagine there are some imagers out there who are goal oriented. Some probably are just looking to make a nice photograph, but some of you might be more interested in wanting how many things can I image? What different types of things can I image? I need a list more than just saying, well, I've imaged the ring about 20 times now. What else is there to image? And this is really where these lists come into play and really help, because it gives you other things to consider if you've never imaged them. And so this is the sequence of events for anyone who's interested in thinking, well, someday I might like to actually press forward and wind up being an Astronomical League recognized master imager. And so you can see there are lunar requirements, solar system requirements, and then one of a group, and then kind of you pick the rest of them. You pick just about anything you want, and you wind up with 10. And from that 10, then you wind up being able to gain the level of being the Astronomical League recognized master imager.
And that is the pen.
And that is the pin?
That is the pen.
Cool.
When you get it.
Cool. So that's as a visual observer, having the list, having a goal is really helpful to me, or else I wound up just, well, what's up tonight? Oh yeah, well, I've only seen that about 5,000 times. Okay, what else is out there to look at? And there's nothing wrong with seeing things multiple times. Don't get me wrong. I see more things every time I look at something I've seen before, and it's kind of fun to welcome old friends as the sky changes from season to season. But being able to say, I'm looking at something different. Like a couple of nights ago, I'd never seen the two of the dwarf galaxies of Andromeda, but they were on a list. I'm working through the Robert Burnham book, his stuff, and it happened to be on one of his lists, and it was great. I was able to say I saw a couple of dwarf galaxies that I'd never seen before. How cool is that? And so if you have that attitude as an imager, this would be something that you might want to consider. Any other questions before wrap this up and give this back to Trina? Yes, sir.
Now go ahead and ask your question.
Well, I've actually got one more pin you got to give out.
One more pen.
No.
Is this what? Who are you talking to? You talking to me, man? Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Is this something you want me to take? I'm not sure.
Like a clown here?
You have a pin to give out, Jerry, because La Presidenta, our own Trina Johnson, over the NSF thing,
Yeah.
Northern Night Starfest,
And
she gave a
that's-
presentation on psyche, which is not only the entirety of human mind and thought, but an asteroid in space and a mission to that asteroid. So because you gave a presentation in psyche, we grant you the psyche pin.
Really? Thank you. I did not know that. Awesome.
Second, as
As-
that was your second as being a newly minted
Solar System Ambassador.
Solar System Ambassador.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir.
So I have to add that. Yes.
So I do
know.
want to say one more thing for those of you that imagers that want to look at the program, look very carefully at the requirements because there is a mixed message in some of them. Some of them say you don't have to do, you look at the table and you don't have to do any transparency or seeing, but then you look down lower and it says imagers got to do everything that visual observers do. So now you do have to do. So there's a mixed message in there. Just make sure you look carefully. And in terms of the first one you're going to do one you like, but do one that doesn't take a whole lot of time so that you can get your feet wet. I know a little bit more now about the process and what I need to capture. So do one that if you don't do well, then you can redo it quickly.
Are you the go-to person for imagers?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Well done.
I will finish my slides because there's one more. So, Jerry, You gotta say it. You gotta say it. Come
But
on.
here's the problem.
Ready?
I don't know what.
Yes, you
Okay, so am I just get to,
Let's read this one. It's gonna be that one. Ready?
yeah, but does that really count now?
Okay, so on the count of 3. 1, 2,
Get out there and observe.
there you go.
Or image.
Or image. I have to change it now. All right, sorry about the mic hit. So there we go. Was there any questions in chat for Doug? Okay, all right. So we'll kind of have 45 minutes. It'll be fine. If not, the images that were left over from the last astrophotography will go to the next month, and we'll split it all up, and everybody will get their set. So quickly rundown star parties. There we go. ELO is September 7th, 14th for International Observe the Moon Day. 28th. Volunteers needed. Welcome. Needed. Yes. Okay. Key holders. Yes.
Yeah.
Sign up. Help out. Suresh. Well, he's not here, but everybody knows BSIG at the Metcalf Field. And dates are right. I double checked, and the time, because I wasn't sure about the time. The time is definitely correct.
Hey, Trina, it's 6:30, the BSIG on Saturday, the 14th.
Perfect. Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate that. And if you want a couple more chances up at LLCC at our dark sky this weekend and the last weekend of September. And then we have key holder training, ELO, September 28th. Talk to Doug and JJC, obviously, everybody. And I don't know how many new key holders that were trained at LLCC this weekend. I was hoping Bolts would tell me, but he doesn't. But anyway, welcome. Thank you.
About 7.
7, perfect. So 7 new people can go up and see the 2 big scopes and use them. Yay. And then quick public service announcements. I think somebody posted about, I think Steve Emmert did this one, the magic angle graphene at a lecture at the University of Minnesota. Michael Copper is doing Planets in the Park on the 13th. I'm sure he would love some people to come out and help. Starry Skies North has a newsletter, and it was immediate publication, immediately release about the Celebrate the Night Sky week in Duluth and Superior. So check with him if you want that. CGO is going to be having their open meeting, so any members can come in and join us for our committee meeting. And it's on September 11th at 7:30 by a Google Meet. Let me know if you want that. Send an email, come talk to me, what have you. And then I have Lila, who wants to talk a little bit about the outreach tracking update. So come on up here.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Quickly, regarding planets in the park, Michael has done a few of these
Yeah.
recently, solar at Lake Harriet. He could use some help. He's had a couple hundred people recently at these, 100 at one, 100 at another. I know he would appreciate the shout out. So,
Yeah. He also needs to tell us so we can get in the happenings too. So
so
do you have the clicker?
no, I don't
Okay.
want to drive that too. Let's get look here. Because we'll have to go back and forth a little. So
Okay.
this outreach is definitely growing and becoming busier. And in order for me to track how many people we are reaching, it's getting a little bit trickier. So I've requested a way to do this, and we just came up with a really simple way. So if you are a volunteer, you're going to be sent this, or you can request it from me. All of this information is already, you either put it on the forum or it's on there already, like, event type, which previously was called level. I changed the word to type because level was confusing. So basically, if you are the lead volunteer, you will fill this out. Every spot on here is required. And then at the end of the year, I'll be able to tell how many people we have reached. If you want to go to the next slide, I'm not going to go over this. This is already what we've been doing. It's just an example to show we're using the word type instead of level. So then if you go to the next slide.
Yeah, but some of the outreach people may not know
Right. Well,
It's a
and
good
I,
newly
in
coming
in
into
the
it,
interest
but-
of time, I wasn't going to go. So if you are new to volunteering, I can either explain this to you one-on-one, or we will be doing outreach training again. I know
Okay.
it's something we've been wanting to bring back, but I think we're just kind of short on time. But basically, type 1 is assisting at like an MAS facility. You don't have to be a key holder, although it's encouraged. Type 2 is, bringing a telescope to like kind of planets in the park, like Michael Copper does, etc. And if you get in touch with me, I can share all of this with you. It's also on the forums. We'll definitely go over it when we do outreach training. No, we don't have a date for that yet.
You want me to go to the next
and-
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then one thing that I want to highlight is that we do outreach in this club that does not come through me. So LLCC, Planets in the Park, Cedar Creek, things like that. John, you do things with the school every month. Those things don't come through me, so I don't coordinate them. So I need that stuff also tracked on here because that counts. If you're doing outreach on behalf of the MAS, it's got to be on this form. So our numbers are accurate. And it's good because we want to brag about how many people we're reaching. So basically I have a list of volunteers that I know do this stuff. I'll share this with you. But if you want it, you can also email me, outreach@mnastro.org. If you're a new volunteer or you just are a new member and you want to start volunteering, you can email me with questions and all of that. So
Is the form on a Google Drive?
it's
for
on a
everybody
Google
can
Drive.
access? Okay,
Yeah, it's on a
okay. I
Google
wasn't
Drive
sure with that.
because I was trying to make it accessible to all of you.
Okay.
So, and I'll just, like I said, I have a list of people that I know to share it with, and basically I want you guys to start using it now. But it's not gonna be official till January.
Okay.
We'll call it a pilot right now. I think that's what John and I decided is that we'd call it a pilot, just to work out if there's any. And I did get feedback from a few people. Matt and John helped me. I got some feedback from Dean. So I didn't do this alone, but. So I can take a couple quick questions. I just don't want to use up a lot of time.
It's all right.
Just the one thing, the rollout will be 9 months ago, or do you mean 2025?
Yeah, that's a typo.
Okay.
It's 2025. We're not going to go back in time and roll it out. Thank you. Yeah, just Matt typed that for me. Can't take any responsibility up here.
What's it? It's a number. You should be better at this.
Yeah, aren't you the treasurer? Although I'm really good at proofreading and I didn't catch it, so that's kind of funny. So yeah, I don't know if you have any questions, you can email me, or if there's a quick one right now, I can take it. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. The form is really simple. It's kind of the stuff most of you are already doing, so. Okay. Very good.
I muted myself. All right. Thank you, Leah. All right. Pop. Okay, I'm being told our timing is just fine. If my clicker wants to work, there we go. All right, quickly, we all know about Gemini articles for the newsletter that is MAS member submitted, and of course, Father Brown would love, as always, to get some. So write about the Aurora, write about the Northern Nights Starfest, write about your outreach events, write about lunar scope usage, write about spectroscopy, write about, I'm not sure. Put it in a hat, diggle around, take an idea out of there. September 10th is the next deadline, so that's coming up. So it'll be published in October, and of course, November to December. And October, November, December is pretty busy with elections and things coming up that we want to get in there too. So all good things and bad things. So anything that you've learned from, put an article about it. We'd love to see it. And if it's something you need more quickly out, send it to Dave, Mr. Secretary, and you will get it in the happenings. Try and do it, before Thursday, so he can get it all programmed on Sunday and sent out on Tuesday. And next month, we are going to be having Professor Terry Jones from the Minnesota Institute of Astrophysics coming in. And I forgot to write down what they were going to be talking about. It's on the website. Okay, yep, there we go. And I also want to notate, I forgot about the PSA. Mr. Dave Faulkner is doing charity raffles for his church, and he is the head of it. So come see him, buy a $5 raffle to hopefully win $10,000. So there's your spiel. Do you want me to, you want to, okay. I know, so do I. I have all the money spent. So multiple $10,000. Okay, all right. So now that we are at this point, thank you for your patience. We will continue from last month, which I didn't even get to see yet, to this month of members astrophotography. So since I never get to see this particular slide, I'm going to put that up there ahead of time.
And tonight we start with Trina, and I don't think like last year she's going to be winning any Razzies.
Well,
So-
you know, this is the last contest that we're having, so we're just going to go with that. All right, hang on. From beginning. Whoa,
Isn't
hello.
this-
I did not take that picture of Saturn.
No,
I-
that's just your
I'm
name
not
introduction.
an astrophotographer. I am so sorry. I'm not.
Yeah.
I know, except for my cell phone, which there we go.
And by the way, that's not Saturn. That's a planet around Alpha Centauri. If you play the game Starfield, it's an amazing space game. Sorry, that's why I've been getting my screenshots in astrophotography.
You need to get over the game and get outside more.
It's amazing. It took me 10 months to finish the first one. Yeah. I need to
Don't
get
break
out
my
there.
clicker. There you go.
Okay.
All
Go
right.
ahead, Trina.
Wait, wasn't Jesse helping you last month?
She was filling in for you. Jesse, do you want to come up?
Come on. I get to sit down. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna off of that?
Let's switch.
All right. Okay.
So, but you got to talk about your picture first.
Oh my God. I took this wonderful picture with my cell phone. It's this Android S17 or something like that on a night photo mode at CGO when we had the aurora down there earlier in the year. And it just yeah. And I thought it was really cool because I love the columns, I love the color, and it kind of interfered with my Herschel observing, but that's all right. I will take, the last weekend of Aurora did the same thing. So some days you just got to sit back and look up. There you
Okay.
go.
Sounds good. I forgot to say, I was going to actually set up a timer because I want to move fast, but I didn't set up for Trina, for my personal safety. Don't mess with Trina. Fair enough. Okay, Nick Johnson. And Nick sent us a video. I'll run that. Okay. There it is.
40 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Nick, are you online to speak to your pictures?
No, go back.
Yeah. Yeah, Trina.
That one.
Turn it off. See, people who name all of these.
Pinwheel. This one. Yeah.
Well, I guess because you do radio astronomy, you don't know.
Orion. Orion.
Isn't that something?
Saturn. There is Saturn, not the one that you saw, Ron. That's a better Saturn, yes. That's a good moon. Well, his are going by really fast. So Nick, I estimated everybody 2 minutes. His video is 2.5 minutes. So if you would have given me more time, Trina. What is that? Oh, was that elephant? One, well, Trina, one from outside the solar system. That's a good one. Okay, up next is Mark. Did we lose him? Oh, no, there he is. I know. That's your picture. Yeah, go ahead, Mark. Tell us about it.
I have no idea where I shot this. Could have been Texas, could have been here. We don't know. It's been so long since I submitted, I don't even have my notes anymore.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Oh, this I could talk about because this was off my house. It was actually raining and I set the camera up off the south deck. And I have a lightning strike. I think they call it a strike finder actually. And it'll detect lightning. And that was one shot. Less than, probably around about 40, probably 40 milliseconds or so. It wasn't very long. So yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I've got quite a few lightning pictures now after many, many years of sitting and just clicking. But now it's automatic. You just sit back and relax.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, next is, why isn't this? I gotta point to the laptop. David Hewsome.
Wait, Mark.
Okay, I just have three from the night of the aurora, and I had on a whim bought a 14mm lens about a year ago and had never really used it. And this actually is a composite. It is the International Space Station, and it actually was the night after, but it was the same spot, and it was sort of legitimate in astrophotography. Next. My first one out, there was really great reds in the sky, and I shot straight up, and I thought they're kind of boring. Went to my neighbor's lot, which was empty, and realized I forgot to turn off my my yard lights. But then I decided I really liked that. And then one more. This, looking for a landscape. There's actually a blacktop plant over here. This is the gravel pit. What I was really working on was trying to get the moon, and being a 14mm spread out that much, it got a little wonky, but those were my my shots.
Thank you. Okay, next is Ben Hewsett. Ben?
Okay, I just thought this was supposed to be a aurora, so that's why I put it in. And sorry, oh wait, this okay. This is part 2 of the thing. When I got back to my friend's place at 3 in the morning. It's like you could still see it next to the airport. Like, what the heck? So I did these little things here, but
Ben, is that last one, is that a composite?
yeah, it's it's a mosaic. So I have a software. You just take a whole bunch of pictures and
Sure.
it scotch tapes it all together. So, but anyway, and then so this was after I got back from ELO. So, and here's so this is stuff I shot out at ELO, and the colors are fairly close to the way I remember them. But anyway, and sorry, I didn't know there was a time limit, so I would have. But anyway, this is another composite. Just put the camera, take a picture, turn, click, and then most of the time I just set it up on a tripod and I'll let it do its thing. But I think it was a 2-second exposure every 10 seconds. And my note says it was ASA 3200 f3.5. So, but usually, yeah, there was an awful lot of cars in the parking lot, so the sign gets really well lit from time to time. But
Oh yeah, you had the ISS.
mhm.
And there, here comes Ben.
If there's a 2x run, you can speed it up if you wish. But
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know if it will let me run it faster.
Mm.
But if people who have videos and they have them on YouTube or on the website, send me the links, I can go and publish them all on the forum or on.
I think
on
we
Slack.
went back to the beginning somehow. But if you want to just sort of like click in the middle when I went down to actually down to
Yeah.
Eagle Lake. Yeah,
Yeah,
just take it from there.
yeah, that's the part where you have the lake.
But and this is from the lake, looking back up at the picnic area. But I was just amazed. The thing kept going and going and going. There's Claire.
Yeah.
But so, and I want to thank Michael Copper, who insisted that we not go to the nearby spot, but all the way out to ELO, because the trip extra mile the next dark was definitely well worth it. So,
Oh. Thank you, Ben. Okay.
and to keep looking up, because you never know when the aurora might come back.
And then Nick Hartman next. Nick is here online. Okay, let's go through his pictures then. Andromeda. Here. And that's it. Okay, next is Carter Hansen. Carter? Online, okay. M13. And then next is Don Gaslick. Don is not here? Okay. He's got amazing pictures of Titan transit in front of Saturn.
I'm here, I'm online. Is this working?
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
Yeah, so I got a real astronomical type camera and knew this Titan transit was coming up, so I went out to ELO. I used the Takahashi Muon that's over in Sovia. And yeah, I captured the Titan transit. I've got some images from, before it was central and afterwards. And you can see the quality kind of gets better as it goes along as Saturn was getting higher in the sky. So it's the first time trying to do some planet imaging, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Don. Okay, next is Steve Emmert. Steve has the best astrophotography picture. What did you do to take this picture, Steve? Tell us the story.
Obviously, I did not take this picture. But I asked Ahmed to leave the picture in the deck because of the story behind it. So a couple of days after the April eclipse, my sister-in-law sent this picture to me and texted me saying, your nephew on the East Coast sent me this picture and he said he took it. You think he did? And I go, well, number one, he's on the East Coast. He does not travel, so he didn't go to the path of totality. He has no interest in astronomy, and he's not really a photographer. So I replied back, I don't think so. and she goes, oh, so he was lying then, huh? Yeah, you think? So anyway, that's the whole thing. Anybody, but it's a great picture. Anybody have an idea where that thing came from though? I do not. No, I think it is this one because look at the flare up there. So it was the April eclipse. Or at least it appears that way.
Okay, now big applause for Steve for the best astrophotography picture. Okay, next is Mark Connolly. Yeah. Yep. Mark, are you online? Okay, I'll go through Mark's pictures. Mark got a new telescope, a Unistellar, and has been taking a lot of pictures that I've incorporated here. I'm just going to go through them. And my understanding is this scope enables him for easier setup than the previous setup that he's had, and he's just been cranking out pictures. And they're just amazing here. And you can see every picture is labeled underneath. So yeah, M3 for this one here. M82. The Owl Nebula. Blue Oyster. Yeah. Horsehead, which Chris and Vaults got me to see to a telescope last week over at LCC. That was for Steve. I forgot to reset it. M65.
That place used to be a hopping place, you know, when I started working there in 2014, and now, I mean, you know, I'd say half the people there are maintenance people.
Somebody
Half
needs to
are
be muted.
security people.
Somebody online needs to mute.
I bet very few of them gave up their company cars too.
Triangulum Galaxy. And then this is a dated image that Mark wanted to share for Comet Lovejoy. Okay, and that's it for Mark. Wish you were here. You had amazing pictures. Next is Dean Clark.
Hey there, this is a selection of like highlights from the last year or so now, I guess. Anyway, this obviously has to do with the eclipse. I went to Marion, Illinois, which was in that, well, we can't go back a second.
Always forward.
Always forward. Anyway, it was in that quadrilateral down by Carbondale, Illinois, that got 2 eclipses in 7 years. So this was a minor league ballpark called Mountain Dew Park in Marion, Illinois, and I made reservations online, so I knew I'd have a place to go because I pretty much drove down there like a bat out of hell and then came back same way. So this is what they called it, total eclipse of the park. Next. This was, I'd set up outside the stadium itself because they were pretty friendly. So they just let me set up my telescope and my shade and stuff. And I set up next to these people who were doing something similar. Turns out, of course, they were also from Minneapolis. And I took my little Teleview 85 with my solar filter. So it didn't get a lot of use, but it was nice having a telescope there and you could see the partial phases. Next. The pizza tray is a perforated pizza pan, which I took to do the colander thing with the one of the partial phases of the eclipse. Which I think the next, I'm not sure if I got that picture in here. Anyway, that's what the infield of the park looked like. It obviously doesn't make much sense to sit in the baseball stands underneath the roof when you're doing this. So, and the University of Illinois had their astronomy department students out doing a little outreach at the event. So they had telescopes and you can see a little Lego orrery there in the middle with the Earth and Sun. And this is during eclipse. This is just taken with a cell phone camera with my iPhone, so it's not very good at actually exposing the eclipsed sun, but you can see, I think that's Venus below it, and kind of hard at this resolution, but I think in the upper left, Jupiter's up there, yeah.
Okay.
And then this was on the way coming back. If anybody else drove through Illinois for this eclipse, you might have noticed big purple fields, and I learned that's a plant called henbit, and that's not planted, it just comes up in the spring. Something we don't get here. Oh, there's the pizza pan eclipse. What I found was that the holes in the pizza pan are a little bit too big, and you actually have to hold the pizza pan at a bit of an angle to get a smaller opening, and then you get better images. And this is a quick video of me just doing about a 270-degree sweep of the horizon-wide sunrise/sunset during the eclipse. This is pretty nice and even. I decided to leave out the giant wall of the Menards in the other 45 degrees. Next. Oh, well, yeah.
Okay.
And now we're skipping ahead to the May 10th aurora, obviously. So I got a couple of fun ghost wraithy images looking overhead, and this was get a lot of back up to that one real quick. I don't know. A lot of people probably remember, like after about 1 a.m. it got really intense in the west, and I was really amazed to see the yellows and stuff. That's Ben. Whoop, back up. That's Ben there in silhouette. I just wanted to get an image of how the aurora was lighting up the ground that night. Next, yeah. Now, so this still floors me. That's pointed like due south. Just crazy what it was doing that night. Most of us know. And there's another nice straight overhead shot, which looks like an eagle or who knows, Batman maybe. So this is actually the next night when on Saturday, when it was partly cloudy and we had an actual star party. This was a really quick, well, we only had a decent aurora out there that night during the star party for about 10 minutes, right around the time the space station passed over, which is what that bright light in the middle is. But it was bright enough that you could see the color, that's through clouds. So I really kind of wish the clouds hadn't been there, but it's still kind of neat. And of course, other people know that if you stayed up to like 4 or 5 a.m., there was more activity. But the other sad thing that night was I talked to people who were camping in the park that night, that they'd been there Friday night and they didn't go out and look up. But they came up for the star party Saturday. And this is another quick video from these are jumping around in time. This is back in April for the eclipse trip. Driving through Illinois at night, you see these synchronized aircraft warning lights on the wind turbines. So different batches of them all seem to be synchronized slightly differently. And then that's the sun through the 6-inch lunt at ELO. So it looked kind of fun with the clouds over it. It always looks very dramatic, and you can still see prominences and spots, which isn't always the case when it starts getting cloudy. So again, just a cell phone picture that turned out better than I expected. And this one people seem to like. I just happened to look up when we were looking at M82 one night and realized I could see the whole Big Dipper out the slit. So I just grabbed a couple shots and it framed it up just about right.
Thank you, Dean. Okay. Next is Earl By. Earl, online?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We'll go ahead, starting.
Yeah, these are all aurora shots from Red Wing here. This is off our back deck, and this is if you're familiar with Red Wing, that's Barn Bluff right after sunrise or sunset on May 10th. So it was that strong. It was fighting the sunset. And that's down by the river at Cobble Park in Red Wing. That's looking kind of northeast, I think. Yeah, more east. And that's It's an old water tower at the top of Memorial Park Bluff. So it's looking straight up. And this is one of my favorites, looking up from our deck at 3:30 in the morning. It was just going crazy. And I think that's, yeah, it's kind of pixelated, but that's a real-time video. It's not time-lapse. So that's at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was just like ropes in the sky. Yeah, it's not real long.
Yeah.
And North America and Pelican Nebula. Shot from our backyard.
And that's it for Earl. Thank you. What was the question? How many? Earl, they're asking how many subs on that last one, the North American Nebula.
I'm guessing 50.
Beautiful shot.
John Ross.
Yeah, I'm just a total newbie, just gotten into the Milky Way. So I was actually on a photo trip to Patagonia, and we went out to the Atacama Desert. Since it was, yeah, so that was taken with my monochrome camera, Leica, an M10 monochrome. Yeah, it was very, so I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I had a 21 millimeter, but I didn't do like, we woke up at 2:30 in the morning to go out when it was super dark. Our guide took us out, and I didn't do any, like, try to do a foreground shot, you know, at a different ISO or anything. I didn't even know about that. Yeah, but I like the way the clouds sort of wrapped around the Milky Way. Yeah. And this is the Badlands. I was out in the Badlands last month. Went out on the new moon, and I was frustrated in Patagonia because my camera it did 41 megapixels, but I had people with me that had the SL3s, and there was like 60 megapixels, and we were looking at the same imagery, and what they could draw out of it and what I could get out of it were totally different. So I upgraded my equipment when I got home from Patagonia. And this is taken with a Hasselblad X2D. So that's a 102 megapixel medium format digital camera with a 25 millimeter, which is 35 millimeter equivalent is a 20 millimeter. About ISO 3200 and I think about 20 seconds. And yeah, I mean, where I'm at, I'm very pleased. And I just like if you go back one, so the same shot, and I just converted it. So if you go back one shot, add to the color version. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the same shot, and I just converted it in Silver FX Pro 2 to black and white. Yeah. So hopefully start of a nice journey.
Thank you.
I'm not yet a member, but I'm planning to become one.
Okay.
South Dakota.
Okay. So that concludes all of our submissions. I got an extra submission from Thor. It's a video, but it's a long one. So I'm actually going to skip through it. And then John Zimmich sent me some quick pictures here last night. So John, you want to talk through those quickly? Because we want to pass around books. That's why I'm rushing people.
Yeah, my imaging is sun and moon. That's kind of where I focus on. But this here it's kind of an example. The reason I put it out there, it's very simple. This is not stacked, just one image, but it's what you can do when you focus or when you're shooting the moon when it's really high in the sky. This was in March 29th, I think 2023, I think it was, out at ELO, and it's just one shot. And so it just, when it's way up there in the sky, you're not looking through the atmosphere. I just love this shot. That was with the Canon 6D on my C8. It's just a classic C8. It was shot at f10, so 2000 millimeter. Okay. And this is going back. This is the Mars occultation of the moon, and this was also shot with my C8 at f10. We can go to the next. And this was the eclipse in May, I think of 2022. What I like about this shot, and I was out with the group that I do outreach with at the school. It just happened that we were set up an ad hoc for the lunar eclipse. So we're out there in the field. They all left after looking at it, and because it was a school night. And so then I thought, oh, I'll just grab my camera and throw it on my scope. I grabbed the camera, threw it on the scope. Oh, look, there's a star next to the moon I can focus on. I focus on it and take the shot and then pack up and go home. And I realized it's a double star. It's HR 5756. And it actually, I think it's false colored, the star. It looks a little more blue than it really is because of I just used the standard white balance that the camera was using, but I like that.
Okay. Thank you, John. Okay. Okay. So given, we're going to go a little bit over time here, but I'll go and play the video that Thor submitted. You got to show us last time pictures from Franconia during the aurora. So this is the video. Yes. Sound, I don't know.
I usually have everything muted.
Yeah, I don't know how the sound is going to run.
And that's how I say for a call, right?
Yeah, near Taylor's Falls.
Taylor.
You're going to get echo.
So I've been trying to capture aurora in a time lapse for a long time. I've been to Alaska and Manitoba and Sweden, and I never quite get the right feel to it. And because it's a trade-off between how fast it goes and the jerkiness of the motion. So this was my attempt after Franconia. This time the aurora came to me. And that's the moon setting behind the visitor center there at this outdoor sculpture park. The pictures were taken every 4 seconds, and it was a 2-second exposure. And I found the frame rate that I liked the best. It still seemed a little too jerky to me. So I ended up having to make a couple of in-betweens, to smooth the stop motion feel to it, to smooth it out.
Does sculpture have a name?
It does. It's like, I think it's John Appleseed of some sort. It's something like that. These, and this was a picture taken from an iPhone, which is always surprises me at how well they turn out. But the sky was just filled. I think, everybody here may have gotten a chance to see it. And that's a view looking south, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Yes. I think anybody that was outside can believe that.
So I'm still not quite satisfied. I still want that smooth flow. I don't want it to go too fast, but I don't want it to be jerky. So it's kind of hard to get that exact right rate. So this was 2 hours worth of exposing, 2 hours out in under the sky, and it boiled down to a 4-minute video. So that's about a 30-to-1 reduction.
You have a motorized bed on that floor? How's that?
No, these were fixed. This was a crop during the assembly of the frames. And that's
Very nice. Thank you so much, Thor.
Thank you.